Jua kidogo.
Sasa kama mimi ni kijana hivi, niko nyumbani. Vijana wenzangu wengine wanafanya kazi, mimi niko nyumbani.
Najua si rahisi. Si rahisi.
Hata watoto wakiniona wanatoroka.
Good people, I request you, let's share this pain. We have done this before and we will pull this together. Ile kidogo konayo, be a blessing.
The green revolution is on, and Kenya is leading the pack in Africa with a plan to plant 15 billion trees in the next 10 years. A killing task, quite indeed, but the country is determined. And today was that important day for Kenyans to plant trees and conserve the environment. Happy Mazingira Day. Thank you for joining us. This is the Prime Edition, and we're coming to you live from our national headquarters here in Broadcasting House, Nairobi. We have more in store for you, but first of all, let's have a look at the highlights first. Top on Prime Edition. Kenyans urged to eliminate waste in their surroundings to conserve the environment as the country marks Mazingira Day. Awarded by First Lady Rachel. Nurturing environmental conservationists. 46 youth awarded by First Lady Rachel Ruto.
Despite this, investing in mental health interventions again offers a significant return in investment over time.
Productivity, says CS or Health CS Deborah Baraza. Tomorrow's Kenya versus Cameroon continental duel is named. And our sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo. Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry Aden Duale led Mazingira Day commemorations at the Nairobi Arboretum, calling on Kenyans to engage in environmental conservation efforts. He urged Kenyans to conduct cleanup activities to eliminate waste from homes, roads, parks and beaches, among other areas. Today's celebrations follow President William Ruto's signing of the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment Bill 2024, which established October 10th as Mazingira Day, replacing Utamaduni Day as a national holiday dedicated to Kenya's environmental commitment.
The Nairobi River, once a flowing artery of clean water through the city, has become a stretch overwhelmed with waste and pollution. Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate and Forestry Aden Duale, while leading the country in celebrating Mazingira Day, reiterated plans to enlist 20,000 young people to clean up and rehabilitate Nairobi River over the next 18 months.
We want to engage over 20,000 young people solely to clean Nairobi River. In another 18 months, Nairobi River should be a river, not a sewage.
Duale further announced plans to implement a color-coded garbage collection system, requiring every household and facility to separate waste in different garbage bins. This regulation is expected to significantly curb the pollution affecting urban rivers and communities.
Next week, I'm going to gazette the color coding of the garbage that you are found in your houses. Every homestead must have, every facility must have different garbage bins for different waste, whether it's organic, dry, or wet. And we are going to have, NEMA has a responsibility to trace the waste, the garbage, from our homes, from our industries, to the dumping site. We are going to put to question those garbage collecting companies who are procured by Nairobi City County. Hatuwezi kubali takataka zote za Nairobi inaishia katika Nairobi rivers.
In marking Mazingira Day, Kenyans have been urged to take steps in river cleanups, plant trees, and take on waste management at a personal and community level. Jacqueline Masharia for Prime Edition.
Still on environmental conservation, where officers from the State Department of Correctional Services have planted over 300,000 trees across the country as Kenya marks Mazingira Day. Principal Secretary Dr. Salome Biko, who led the celebrations at Ruiru Prison, said the department has been targeting to generate 100 million seedlings annually for distribution to counties.
10th October, a Kenyan public holiday known as Mazingira Day, pulled people from all walks of life to participate in concerted efforts to mitigate climate change. In Ruiru, Kiambu County, the State Department of Correctional Services led over 400 officers from various government agencies to plant 3,000 trees.
Our target is to generate 100 million tree seedlings annually, with a target of disseminating these seedlings not only to our prison stations, which comprise 137 and 148 probation stations, but also to distribute to the county governments, to the municipalities, to schools, to hospitals, with the aim of mitigating climate change.
Species planted include fruit trees, exotic, indigenous, grass and flowers.
A lot of trees and proper vegetation is being planted along the areas where we are creating fish ponds, and that way we nurture those fish ponds and we also plug into the food security.
In Laikipia County, Principal Secretary for Defense Patrick Mariru led the military and members of the public in a tree planting exercise at Kwambuzi military land in Nanyuki.
All military units and bases across the country have massive tree planting program today. It is not only today because it's a Mazingira Day, we do it every month on a scheduled day. In fact, not only that scheduled day, it is a daily exercise, because we, even within ourselves, we have targets that we have set out amongst ourselves.
He said they are collaborating with the local communities in a shamba system farming arrangement, as well as giving them seedlings to plant at home.
Lakini ningetaka kuchukua hii nafasi kuelekeza kwa wale wamepatiwa nafasi kama hii, either hapa au kwa msitu, ya kwamba mahali popote sisi wananchi tumepewa na serikali au institution kama hii tupande chakula zetu katika, na tukiwa tunashuga mishe, then ya kwamba ni lazima tuangazie kwa ile aina ya chakula tunafaa.
Meanwhile, a total of 300 other KDF officers in partnership with various organizations planted over 100,000 mangrove seedlings in Chafisi, Kilifi County.
The rising oceans are threatening the growth of the mangroves. The human activity, pollution, is threatening the salinity of the soils that the mangrove grow on. Our target today is to plant about 100,000 seedlings in this environment. And as you can see, the tide receded. We have taken advantage of the tide.
Because we want to give back to the society, these seedlings are normally germinated by the community. We have also had the community participate in this exercise.
Tumeingilia pia mambo ya kulinda mkoko kwenye tumeupanda hasa. Tunawaangalia, je, huu mkoko unaendelea kukua ama umekufa? Na kama umekufa, ni wakati wetu sisi tutafute mche mwingine tuweke pale ili tuone ule mkoko unaendelea.
Destruction of mangrove trees has had devastating effects in the area. Mazingira Day also aims to support the national greening agenda and ensure Kenya attains the 15 billion trees mark by 2032. Kamchemenza for Prime Edition.
And you see, the question is, how many trees have you planted to help Kenya in its green agenda? And how many trees have you watered? That's a challenge to you and me to ensure that we achieve that target of planting 15 billion trees by the year 2032. Private sector players have been challenged to collaborate with the government to accelerate forest restoration efforts in a bid to protect the nation's rich cultural heritage. Tree planting drives and cleanup exercises were witnessed across different parts of the country, as Alvin Kaunda reports.
Morning at the Hilingong Forest in Kajiado County, locals, governments and non-governmental organizations came together to plant trees.
We need each one of us, we need all stakeholders to be able to ensure that we bend the curve towards ensuring that these populations continue to increase.
Large-scale restoration can only happen if stakeholders support initiatives that have positive impact for the environment.
Also, Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi lauded the National Tree Planting Initiative, noting that it has registered tremendous progress in Kisumu, Siaya and Bungoma counties.
Let us heed the call of preserving and conserving our environment for the future, for posterity, and indeed, even for ourselves. It is the right thing to do as we try to address the problem of climate change.
In Migori, the County Commissioner Kisilu Mutua and the County Executive Committee member for Environment, Climate and Disaster Management Julius Awor Nyerere led cleanup exercises at Soko Mjinga and other markets while raising awareness among the public about their responsibility in waste management in the region.
Generation of waste is done every minute. So we do appeal to the landlords to ensure that wherever they have put up their buildings, they ensure that wastes are disposed at the right places. We have several skips. They need to help us in this.
In Siaya County, residents were urged to prioritize environmental matters by playing their part so that the county can achieve its annual 14 million tree planting target.
We have an annual target of planting 14 million trees per year, annually, and 140 million trees by the end of the 10 years. If we look at our target, so far, it is slightly even less than 1%.
Mandera Governor Mohammed Aden Khalif has emphasized the importance of sustainable urban planning and green initiatives in combating climate change and desertification in the region.
We have participated in planting over 1,000 trees and distributed over 5,000 more seedlings to our residents, contributing to our manifest pledge and the national initiative of planting 15 billion trees.
Speaking during the official unveiling of the 2024 World Green City Awards in the county, the governor further warned individuals who are involved in illegal tree cutting, however urging communities to participate in tree planting initiatives. For Prime Edition, I'm Alvin Kaunda.
Abuga Lemuel from Maxwell Preparatory School, Susan Lenoy from St. Mary's Girls Primary School, and Nyene Sasha from Acacia Schools among the 46 winners of the inaugural First Ladies Mazingira Awards. The winners were feted at State House, Nairobi, by the founder and patron, First Lady Mama Rachel Ruto. The annual national challenge provides a platform for recognition and appreciation of young people making significant contributions in addressing climate change.
In this symphony of earth and man, let's heal the earth from shore to shore, restore our land, secure our fate before it's too late.
State House, Nairobi. The maiden First Lady's Mazingira Awards ceremony. Using poetry, young ones showcased their talents in different forms of art touching on environment and climate change matters.
We feel the roughness of eroded soil, the smoothness of polluted water, and the fragility of disappearing species.
Under the tagline Mazingira Yetu Jukumu Letu, the winners were recognized for the exemplary works in the essay writing, both in English and Swahili categories, painting, drawing, photography and poetry, among others. First Lady Mama Rachel Ruto highlighted the importance of incorporating the young learners in the climate change conversation.
Though you as children are not responsible for the problem of climate action, you bear its heaviest burden. We must see climate change not just as an environmental issue, but as a crisis that directly threatens our children's present and future.
With over 1,000 schools participating in the inaugural edition of the First Lady's Mazingira Awards, Mama Rachel called on more institutions to register for the competition to ensure no learner is left behind.
I'm focused on amplifying the voice of children in Kenya by advocating for your protection, provision, and participation.
Through initiatives like FRAMA, we ensure they become active participants in solutions, not passive observers.
This activity of Mazingira Award will be aligned to our calendar of events in the education sector.
Some of the winners include Moema Janelle, Kipsiro Shimain and Anjambi in the English essay category, Ngeni Chepkoet, Joy Jiro Pinyapara Kello in the English spoken word, and Abdi Karim Ado, Kipruto Ian and Santino Lucky in the painting category.
The government is confident that through the involvement of young persons in climate change conversations, the future of Mother Earth is secured and the greening agenda for the country will be a success. Yusuf Farah reporting for Prime Petition at State House.
Many thanks, Yusuf Farah. Health Cabinet Secretary Deborah Barasa says there is a need for Kenya to invest in mental health interventions to secure the country's economic fortunes. Barasa says the Kenya's human resources must be provided with a conducive working environment and mental wellness programs to increase productivity.
Some 3.7 million people in the Kenyan workforce may be living with mental illness. To lower the numbers and save the country from the financial burden associated with the vice, the government is appealing to employers to prioritize interventions.
Despite this, investing in mental health interventions again offers a significant return in investment over time. And the Kenya Mental Health Action Plan and the Task Force on Mental Health report prioritizes increased access to mental health services, including workplace mental wellness programs.
If conditions have an impact on the workforce, we are talking about 12.6 billion hours of manpower lost per year. And if we were to look at it in terms of the monetary value, we are talking of values north of $1 trillion USD per year.
On Thursday, Kenya marked World Mental Health Day at a national celebration in Nairobi. There are concerns that a significant proportion of the populace does not know the difference between mental health and mental illness.
Like, I remember my dad that time after discharge, he always asked me if I was under drugs, like bang or alcohol. And my mom on the other side was questioning herself if maybe I was bewitched or anything.
In Mombasa County, Reverend T. Nalo of the Praise Chapel Kenya Church urged Kenyans to normalize mental health talks and raise awareness in the society, especially now that the country is facing economic and political challenges.
Many people are suffering out there, and it is time for us to support one another and work with one another in our families and workplace.
In Siaya County, Kenyans were urged to avoid stigmatizing mental health patients and instead help demystify myths associated with the illness.
In 2022, we had 118 admissions in our mental health unit. In 2023, we had admissions of 81, and up to half of the year 2024, our admissions had reached 51.
Kasichana Masha, Prime Edition.
Well, you're watching Prime Edition with me, O'Brien Kimani. We are coming to you live from Broadcasting House. Before we take our first break, I just want to feed you with some jaw-dropping statistics. There are about 3.08 trillion trees in the world. That's right. And if you divide these with about the 8 billion people that we have in the world, it means that there are about 400 trees to every single human being. Now, the other interesting part is this. Every year, 15 billion trees are cut down. Yeah. And 1.08 billion trees are planted every year. So we are cutting down 15 billion trees. We are planting less than 1.1 billion trees every year. And I don't know what will happen. But the beauty of it is that countries are coming to the realization that deforestation is becoming a major threat to humanity, and we need to do something. And that's why Kenya is leading the front by planting about 10 billion trees in the next 10 years. Enough of that. You're watching the Prime Edition. Our fast breaking is coming up next. Stay right here for more information.
Colgate Herbal is formulated from a unique blend of natural herbs and is scientifically proven to strengthen teeth and keep gums healthy. Try Colgate Herbal, scientifically proven for strong teeth and healthy gums. Colgate Charcoal, the charcoal toothpaste you can trust.
Master Flare kwenye star 570 hash option ya 4 na ushindi wako tunautangaza the 6th of October. Tucheze, tusaidie, tushinde!
Mapato ya jasho lako, faida ya nguvu zako, na juhudi za kila siku kuboresha maisha yako. Ndio ngao ya jasho lako. Linzi wa akiba yako. Relax. Akiba yako iko salama. Tulia na KDIC.
KDIC, safer, stronger together.
We asked the children, how many of you brushed this morning? And this little boy, his hand didn't go up. And I said, well, why didn't you brush this morning? He said, my brother was using the toothbrush. If I'd waited for him, I would have been late for school. I'm sorry, I get a bit emotional when it comes to that. To be able to change a child's life, to be able to bring back that confidence about their smile, for me, is phenomenal.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Edition. The Ministry of Health, in collaboration with non-governmental organizations, has conducted a series of free eye clinics for students and capacity building for teachers in primary schools from Thimukuru Informal Settlement in Nairobi County. Optometrist says there is a need to prioritize eye health among children to curb visual impairment and blindness.
Day is celebrated annually on the second Thursday of October. This year's event was commemorated under the theme Love Your Eyes, putting children at the center of the campaign. During an eye clinic camp at St. Catherine Primary School in Nairobi, the organizing secretary of the Optometrist Association of Kenya, Jeremiah Mungare, mentioned several factors that may result in eye problems among children, from allergies to hereditary factors.
We have found so many children with eye problems, mostly allergies, refractive errors, and some few cataract cases, congenital cases. So for the allergies, we have a mind to give them some eye drops to manage the allergies. With the refractive errors, we have a mind to give them glasses, free glasses, to enable them to see well.
According to optometrists, children can go to eye clinics as soon as they are born to detect any eye defects.
Children should be checked their eyes as early as they are born to ensure there are those conditions that are chronic or they are born with. If they are born with conditions that can be rectified and they are checked as early as they are born, they are able to be helped at that time.
Teachers say students who develop vision impairment have a hard time in school, which if left uncorrected can severely impact their education.
Kuna baadhi ya wanafunzi ambao huwa wako na shida za macho, na hizo shida wakati wakiwa darasani, kwa mwalimu ni rahisi kuweza kutambua wanafunzi ambao wako na shida za macho. Kwa mfano, utaona kama mtoto wako na shida za macho, mwanzo utaona aking'ang'ana sana kuangalia pale kwa ubao, uweza kuona yale maandishi ambayo yameandikwa pale. Pia utaona kwamba mara nyingi atakuwa akijikwaruza.
Parents and caregivers have been called upon to implement protective measures for their children to ensure their overall well-being.
It is important to have eye checkup annually for the adult, but for the kids we advise at least 6 months to ensure that any undetected or any underlying condition is detected early.
Prioritizing eye health is essential for overall well-being. Regular checkups, a well-balanced diet, and protective measures can make a significant difference. By taking these proactive measures, you can ensure clearer vision and better quality of life for the years to come. For Channel 1 News, I'm Christine Matunda.
Thank you, Christine. Some more interesting information here. There are about 40 million people, according to the World Health Organization, who are blind in the world. That's right, 40 million people. And there are 250 million people who suffer some form of eye impairment. That's right. So that's why you need to have your eyesight checked. Well, it shall be an offence for electoral officials to unreasonably delay declaration of election results. It shall also be a serious offence if the Electoral Commission conducts election in an ungazetted polling station. These are some of the proposals in the Election Offences Amendment Bill 2024 currently at the Senate, and which, if enacted, will seal loopholes in the electoral process. The draft law is one of the 9 pieces of legislation that came out of the National Dialogue Committee report.
And Boundaries Commission will have new and even stringent laws if the Election Offences Amendment Bill 2024 is enacted. The bill cites conducting of election in an ungazetted polling station, unreasonably delay in declaration of election results, alteration of election results as serious offences. While considering the draft law, senators termed it as an attempt to clean up the electoral process, make elections more efficient, to restore trust among the electorate.
In fact, there are many elections actually, Madam Speaker, that in the last 1 or 2 elections, you find that the results were declared days after. And there was no justifiable reason why the same cannot be done.
when this stealing of elections happen, it's by altering the figures, Madam Speaker. That somebody has 21 votes in a particular polling station, but then rogue IEBC official or officer adds a 0, making it 210. If that is done repeatedly in several other polling stations, then of course they alter the overall result of an election.
According to the lawmakers, the proposed amendments will fill the gaps exposed by the Election Offences Act 2016.
Elections are conducted on a Tuesday, Madam Speaker, and you will never be handed a certificate to come back to Nairobi as a member of parliament or a senator till the third day. And there's this fear among candidates that if you get out of a polling station, your results will be altered.
You will find, Madam Speaker, this counting has been done, and the election officials in the polling station, they'll keep on sitting there. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. By that time, all agents have become fatigued.
Some polling stations are introduced very near to the election. When actually you people are campaigning, when the candidates we are on the campaign trail, you are told there's this other new polling station that has been gazetted. And now, as a candidate, you have not planned for those polling stations. And the distances are so huge. And this makes a lot of sense to say that 3 months before the general election, all the polling stations must be gazetted.
Senators also poked holes into the current electoral system, saying it falls short in, among others, voter registration.
As we try to come up with national consensus on various matters, we could come up with that consensus that the national identity card is sufficient for our young people and for our citizens to participate in the voting exercise. Secondly, Madam Speaker, it would be important for purposes of national security and sovereignty to ring-fence our elections from foreign influence.
The challenge we have in this country is not lack of institutions. It is lack of deficit of trust and belief in the independent institutions, Mr. Speaker.
The bill is at its second reading stage. Kamchi Menza for Prime Edition.
A petition has been filed in the High Court seeking an interim order to be issued restraining the Chief Justice, Deputy Chief Justice or any persons acting under the instructions from swearing in any nominated Deputy President pending the hearing and determination of cases challenging the impeachment motion. Advocate of the High Court, Morara Omoke, is further seeking orders to allow Rigathi Gachagua to remain in office should the Senate uphold his impeachment until all cases are heard and determined.
The impeachment process against the embattled Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now appears to take a different twist after a petitioner filed a case in Eldoret High Court barring the Chief Justice or any other judge from swearing in a new Deputy President to replace Rigathi Gachagua. Advocate Morara Omoke wants the court to issue interim orders to allow Gachagua remain in office in the event his impeachment is upheld by the Senate next week until all pending cases are heard and determined. Omoke argues that the public participation exercise by the National Assembly ought to have been conducted after considering the motion. He further holds that the 1 day set aside out of the 7-day constitutional timeline is not enough to conduct a meaningful public participation. This adds to 22 petitions filed in the High Court challenging the public participation that the High Court Judge Lawrence Mugambi is set to rule on Friday on whether the petitions will be consolidated and referred to the Chief Justice for the empanelment of a bench to hear the matter. This as the Senate is set to debate and vote on the impeachment motion on Wednesday and Thursday next week. It remains to be seen whether an interim order will be granted or not, with the courts having rejected over a dozen petitions that had sought to stop the National Assembly from impeaching him. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition.
Elsewhere, children at the Kenyatta National Hospital Pediatric Ward and those of the prisoners serving at Langata Women Prison are set to benefit from the 2 million shillings raised through a marathon by well-wishers in Nairobi. The Rofine Field Group of Schools Director Boniface Aweti says the annual event that began on Monday and will end on Friday aims to aid in purchasing medical equipment for the underprivileged.
Pupils, parents and the management of the Rofine Field Group of Schools on Thursday participated in a series of events to raise funds for children in pediatric care. The events, which included a marathon, walk and skating, sought to keep alive a philanthropy engineered to give children a fighting chance.
So today we have been having runs in three categories, 2 kilometers. This is mainly for the learners who are in the kindergarten section. It's very interesting that we've had even learners who are 3 years old participating in the race. That tells you the importance that they put together in our CSR initiative. So the learners in that age, they do the 2 kilometers. Then we have some learners doing 5 kilometers, and then the others doing the 10 kilometers.
We really pride ourselves in having our kids take part in this initiative to support the society. It's something that every other year our children normally look up to.
The funds raised will also be used to procure learning materials and build classrooms.
Katika shughuli zetu tunapotembelea hospitali, mwanzo tunafanya assessment kujua kwamba watoto ambao wapo pale wanahitaji nini. Hivyo tunanunua vifaa kuwapelekea vifaa ambavyo ni vya viwango vya wanafunzi watoto.
When we raised over 2 million shillings, we were supposed to put it together and then see what we are able to do with the KNH, and we also trusting God that we should also be able to visit our Langata Women Correctional Services so that we also able to support the kids who are there who belong to the inmates.
The director of the Rofine Field Group of Schools, Boniface Aweti, says the initiative is also looking forward to partnering with Msambweni Hospital in Diani, Kwale County to carry out the same initiative. Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
Still on matters education, and Daystar University Vice Chancellor Professor Peter Laban Ayiro is challenging institutions of higher learning to give more attention to research in order to improve Kenya's education system. The Prof made the remarks during the launch of his latest book titled Educational Research Methods, A Functional Approach. The launch was graced by, among others, Literary Communications Professor Egara Kabaji, the chairman of Bidco Africa, Vimal Shah, and former Makueni Governor Professor Kivutha Kibwana. Speaking after the speaker lauded Professor Ayiro's contribution to Kenya's academia and urged universities to work together for the betterment of education and students.
This book extends beyond individual readers. It is a clarion call for educational reformation, encouraging collaboration, fostering networks of support among educators, and ultimately enabling us to uplift our educational systems for future generations.
If we don't reinvent ourselves every single day, we'll be left behind. So I think research methods are changing. The way we do business is changing.
We need to be persuaded that research is not harmful, even when it comes or meets with the public sector, and it can only help to ameliorate some of these issues which undermine our ability to do better.
And I think it is important as we launch this book to reflect on our education system, to rethink our education system, and to reposition research in our universities.
And now on Matters Trade, where the Ghana Trade House in Kenya marked its first anniversary this week, showcasing the best of Ghanaian culture and products to Kenyan consumers in Nairobi. The Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Export Promotion, Samuel Dentu, expressed excitement at the enthusiastic response from Kenyans, noting the event's success in fostering cultural exchange and economic connection. The Ghana Trade House aims to bridge the gap between Ghana and East Africa and foster stronger bilateral ties.
We are doing what we call Taste of Ghana. Taste of Ghana is a food bazaar that is introducing the Ghanaian food. We are dining with our most cherished customers who have supported the Trade House over the years. that we are celebrating the 1 year for.
Let's now turn on to the counties where a border rider died on the spot following a head-on collision with a public service vehicle at Kona Kwalendo area along the Homa Bay-Kisumu Road in Homa Bay County. These and other stories in our counties in this roundup.
According to the eyewitnesses, the deceased was trying to divert to Amaram Road when he collided head-on with an oncoming matatu. Local authorities have launched an investigation into the incident as concerns about road safety for border riders in the region continue to rise.
Vile nilitoka Homa Bay nikelekea Kisumu, nikastukia mtu ya pikipiki amebranch tu mara moja, alikuwa anafuatana na lori, akabranch tu mara moja kwa rafu nyingine, na gari yangu ishafika karibu. Singetoa gari nje, nimestukia tu gari imemshika. Dakika mwisho nikasikia mwishowe ati ameaga.
Elsewhere, the government has formed a committee chaired by the Commissioner of Cooperatives to audit billions of shillings that cooperative societies owe farmers. According to the Minister of Cooperatives and MSMEs, Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya, the debts were rising every year despite efforts by the government to offset them.
And debts is part of mismanagement. And that's why we are saying we are going to have an eye on borrowing in cooperatives, because some members are duped into being told that we are borrowing to pay dividends while we wait for money from cooperative bank in terms of cherry fund, when actually they are just borrowing for their own use.
In Embu County, a section of farmers have embraced the use of cow grass, also known as Chinese magic grass, which is believed to be rich in protein and microelements for animal feed. The cow grass is a combination of 46 different grasses that can also do well in semi-arid areas.
When you plant your cow and it grows to about 2 meters tall, cut it, it will start splitting. And it splits and it splits double the size. Whether you're doing camels, whether you're doing rabbits, whether you're doing pigs, whether you're doing goats, you can be able to feed, because June cow is fed by all kinds of animals.
In Kenya, Livestock Commercialization Project has started a training on modern animal feeds for youths in Butla in Busia County, aimed at making cost-effective feeds for rural goat farmers in the border county.
Kati ya ile chakula ambayo inapendwa sana na wakulima wengi, mwanzo hapa Busia na ni bei mzuri, unapata cutting ama ile mbegu moja ambayo wanapanda inaenda hadi shilingi hata 50. Kwa hivyo hawa wataweza kuuza hiyo kwa wakulima ambao wako Busia County na wataweza kutengeneza pesa.
Finally, Embu Huduma Center staff members marked this year's Customer Service Week by visiting and donating assorted items to children with disabilities at the Jomo Kenyatta Children's Home in Embu County. The visit came as a relief for the children's home after fire raised down part of the facility 2 months ago.
We planned to come and visit Jomo Kenyatta Children's Home to share the act of mercy, the act of compassion with them, to show that God loves these children, and to extend our love to them.
Martini Maslin for Prime Edition.
Pigeons, often overlooked in the world of birds, boast of a rich history that intertwines with human civilization. These birds are perceived as a symbol of peace, love and resilience, and their presence is felt across the globe. In Kenya, pigeons are not only a common sight, but also an integral part of the country's biodiversity. Tonight on Magical Scenes, we highlight the remarkable journey of pigeons from ancient messengers to Kenya's urban companion.
The domestication of pigeons dates back over 5,000 years, primarily in the Middle East, where they were valued for their meat and their extraordinary homing abilities. The streets made pigeons indispensable during times of war, as they were employed as messengers, delivering vital information across vast distances. One of the most famous pigeons in history, Shahami, served in World War I, delivering a crucial message that saved nearly 200 soldiers despite sustaining injuries. This act of bravery highlights the deep bond between humans and pigeons, a relationship that has evolved over millennia. In Kenya, several pigeon species thrive in diverse environments, showcasing the country's rich birds diversity. Among the most notable are the African collared dove, the rock pigeon, and the striking Nicobar pigeon.
When you are told about any animal is of this species, it means they are sharing the same characteristics. Now that's why now we have classified all pigeons as one species. But in that category, now we have different types of breed from different countries. From the Jacobin, lionhead, the frillback, we have the German beaty homer, we have the French modem, we have the Indian fantails. But now in all pigeons, all of them were crossbreed from the rock pigeon. And not all pigeons were kept from the same purpose. There are those pigeons that were kept for beauty, like the frillback, the Jacobin, that were kept for beauty and their feathers. There are others that were kept for sending messages. An example of them is the German beaty homer. Others were kept for meat, like the king pigeon and the French model. Others were kept for sound, like the trumpeters.
The African collared dove is easily recognized by its distinctive black collar on the back of its neck. Commonly found in both urban and rural settings, this dove adds a melodic, cawing sound to the Kenyan landscape, making it a familiar companion to many.
The young ones of pigeons are not called chicks like those of hens. They are called scubas. And they lay 2 eggs, and there's no probability of them hatching those eggs into same gender. The hatching of that eggs will be 1 male, 1 female. They are intelligent birds, and they can also see colors that we cannot see. The ultraviolet color they can see, but we human beings cannot see.
The rock pigeon are descendants of the wild rock dove, is another species that has adapted remarkably to urban life. Pigeons are more than just common birds. They are a testament to the intricate relationship between humans and nature, from their historical roles as messengers to their presence in our cities and countryside. They remind us of the resilience and adaptability of wildlife. Nchuma Odim, Magical Sense.
Sasa kuna njia mpya na rahisi ya kucheza Avieta. Dial *419# kwenye simu yako na ucheze wakati wowote.
Welcome back. Time now to have a look at the world of sports, where Harambee Stars tactician Engin Firat has named his final 24-man squad ahead of the crucial two-legged 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. The first match pitting Kenya and Cameroon will be live tomorrow on KBC Channel 1 and 8 affiliate radio stations from 7 p.m. Meanwhile, the Kenya under-20 soccer team Rising Stars were held to a 0-0 draw by a resilient Rwanda in the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations CECAFA qualifiers at KMC Stadium in Tanzania.
Tusker FC's David Odoyo, who recently received his first national team call-up, Ulinzi Stars Boniface Moshiri, and FC Leopards Sydney Lokale are among the players dropped from the final squad. Gor Mahia's midfield maestro Austin Odhiambo will miss out due to injury. Engin Firat's final squad features only 7 local-based players, including goalkeepers Patrick Matasi of Kenya Police and Brian Omondi of Bandari FC. Key players Daniel Anyembe and Michael Olunga, who missed the September matches, returned to the squad, while Adam Wilson and Alfred Sriven, who were unavailable in previous fixtures, have also been included. Kenya currently leads Group J with 4 points, tied with Cameroon after 2 rounds of matches. They will play Cameroon tomorrow at Jopoma Stadium before hosting the 5-time champions in Uganda on Monday at 4 p.m. Both matches will be live on KBC Channel 1 and 8 affiliate radio stations. Meanwhile, the Kenya under-20 soccer team Rising Stars were held to a 0-0 draw by resilient Rwanda in the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations CECAFA qualifiers at KMC Stadium in Tanzania. The Kenyan charges were forced to share the spoils after missing clear-cut chances in both halves.
Menuliwa pasi ndefu ile pale, yuko pale William Gita Mwangi tena. William anaingiza cross ya chini chini, inaunganishwa vibaya na Lawrence Sokot.
Kenya had beaten host Tanzania 2-1 in their opening match of the qualifiers. Kenya is drawn in Group A alongside Tanzania, Sudan, Rwanda and Djibouti. Kenya will face Djibouti on Sunday in their third match, then wrap up their group stage matches against Sudan on October 15. The finalists will earn a slot in the 2025 Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations, set to be hosted in a yet-to-be-named nation.
Still on football matters, where the national soccer team Harambee Stars will face South Sudan in the 2024 Africa Nations Championship CHAN qualifiers after the draw was conducted by the Confederation of African Football in Cairo. The winner between Kenya and South Sudan will advance to the final phase of the qualification matches, where they will face the winner between Djibouti and Rwanda. The first leg matches are scheduled between the 27th and 25th of October, with the return fixture scheduled between the 1st and 3rd of November this year. The final phase of the qualifiers is set to be held between 20th and 29th of December. The 2024 African Nations Championship will be co-hosted by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania from the 1st to the 28th of February next year, marking the first time in CAF history that a tournament is jointly hosted by 3 nations. As host, Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania have already secured automatic qualification, but will nevertheless take part in the qualifiers. The CECAFA zone will have 1 additional representative at the tournament, while the other zones will have 3 representatives each. Now on matter of cycling, where Team Rwanda emerged victorious in the elite men team time trial mixed relay during the ongoing CAC Road Cycling Africa Championship in Eldoret, after they took 1 hour and 6 seconds to complete the 44.8 kilometers race. The team, led by Moise Mugisha and Diane Igambile, dominated both elite men and women mixed relays to set the pace for what promises to be a thrilling competition. Eritrea came in second with a time of 1 hour and 45 seconds, while Ethiopia completed the podium dash in a time of 1 hour, the minute and 9 seconds. Uganda was fourth, followed by Morocco and the Kenyan team of Joseph Kamau, veteran cyclist David Kinja, Efantas Warutere, as well as Nancy Akinyi, Monica Jelimo, Kendra Tabu. There was also a fun game where residents mingled with elite cyclists to mark Mazingira Day. The Road Cycling Championship, which has recorded top-tier performances from cyclists across Africa, continues tomorrow with the junior women under 23 men and women individual races.
First medal, no medal yesterday, but now we are happy because we have a gold medal maybe.
Yeah. Mixed team relay has been dominated and claimed.
We go back to football, where a 4-day workshop on security and safety in stadiums conducted by CAF ended today with the participants being urged to put earth lessons into practice. The training brought together 40 security officials drawn from Premier League and nationwide clubs.
And after 3 days of training, those who attended the workshop received certificates to symbolize they were now well equipped to deal with fans during matches at their respective teams.
Over the years, that most of the leagues have people occupying the position of security officers, but what has been lacking is that they do not have the capacity in terms of the know-how to be able to understand what needs to be done. And this was why we came up with the CAF Safe Stadium initiative.
The training is one of the initiatives by Confederation of Africa Football CAF to build capacity among senior security officials in Kenya ahead of the 2025 African Nations Championship CHAN, which will be co-hosted by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania.
The bigger picture is, remember, CHAN is coming to East Africa in February next year. So by upgrading those who handle our top leagues, it means we'll have capacity by the time we are hosting the CHAN. In a few years' time, we'll be hosting AFCON. So you can imagine between now and 2027, if they implement all that they've learned, you can imagine how safe our stadium will be by the time AFCON comes to East Africa.
Those who attended the training said they were eager to demonstrate the skills they had acquired during the training.
We have been equipped with the knowledge on how to manage these crowds. Trust you me, we are going to have zero instances of crowds being unruly, because we now know how to manage our crowds. We know now to operate with them.
It has really helped us. Anyone who came day one up to date, we have closed the course. We have different thinking now, different planning, and we are going to implement things differently.
Kenya is the 10th country to receive the Safe Stadium Initiative training, which will now be held next week in Tanzania. Bernard Okumu, Prime Edition. FKF
Premier League clubs have called on all delegates who will participate in the December 7th FKF national elections to elect individuals who will ensure growth of Kenyan football from the grassroots to the national level. Speaking in Nairobi today, the caucus group, which comprises all the 18th FKF Premier League club chairmen and CEOs, announced their plans of vetting each NEC member and presidential candidates before making a decision on their preferred contestant during the upcoming national elections. They called on the 20 national Super League counterparts, as well as the FKF Divisions 1, to join the caucus as they forge the way forward. FKF, NEC and presidential aspirants will present their nomination forms on 14th of this month before the Electoral Board verifies the names between 18th and 19th. The preliminary list of successful candidates will be published on the 21st of October. Elected officials in the December 7th election will serve for a 4-year term as per the 2013 Sports Act.
Do we safeguard the future of kids growing up in Dandora, in Kisumu, in Marsabit? How do we safeguard their future?
Pata the master flare kwenye star 570 hash option ya 4 na ushindi wako tunautangaza the 6th of October. Tucheze, tusaidie, tushinde!
Let's now turn our focus on to rugby, where Machakos County is all prepared to host an unforgettable weekend of rugby action as from the 26th. I beg your pardon, let me take that again. Where Machakos County is all prepared to host an unforgettable weekend of rugby action as the 26th edition of the 2024 Safari Sevens get underway on Friday morning to Sunday evening at Kenyatta Stadium.
Shujaa will be on their title defense, captained by George Horo and Samuel Asati, after they beat Samurai 19-0 last year, thanks to exploits of Kevin Wekesa and Patrick Odongo, who will be playing alongside Brian Mutua, Daniel Tabu, Dennis Abukuse, Gabriel Ayimba, among others. Kenya Morans hope to better their performance after finishing 5th last year, with the team being captained by Elvis Olukusi and Festus Shiasi. Other teams in action include Uganda, the Red Whalers, Lions Rugby, Kenya Varsity Select, Harlequins and Zimbabwe. The Kenya Lionesses will be going for nothing short of the title after falling to Uganda Lady Cranes last year in the finals, with the likes of Sheila Chajira, Sinaida Mokaya, Diana Owino and Diana Kemunto and Teria Yesa raring to make it happen this time round, with the women's sevens also featuring the Shogun and Costa Barbarians. The Kenya Cubs will be another team to look out for after finishing third in 2023, spearheaded by, among others, Lynette Mora, Atieno War, Caro Nyanchoka and Michelle Alivista. The Safari Sevens, which is Africa's premier rugby event, will kick off from tomorrow to Sunday at the Machakos Stadium. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
To basketball now, where the national NBA Africa has partnered with Safaricom to launch a youth basketball development program geared towards empowering the youth by providing opportunities through sports. The program will empower the youth aged 16 years and below through regional and national junior NBA tournaments, the NBA coaching clinics and an elite camp of 4 top Kenyan prospects. Through a collaboration, NBA Africa and Safaricom will host 4 regional junior NBA tournaments across Kenya, culminating with an 8-team national championship. The NBA Africa accredited scouts and coaches will also support coaching and capacity building programs for junior players through training and mentorship programs. The collaboration marks the league's most expansive youth development initiative in East Africa.
It's very important for us to do basketball development, especially in Africa, because the ecosystem in Africa is still developing compared to the US or other places. And so for us to be able to grow the game of basketball on the continent, it's very important for us to be able to bring the game closer to communities, closer to kids, closer to schools. And this is where we do these programs that we do. And we have a number of programs. We like to say that our strategy at NBA Africa is from the grassroots to the elite level.
As Safaricom, we want to get involved with sports that start with the youth, that are grounded in the youth, ages 10 to 17. We have looked at all the different sports that are played in this country. Chapadimba is our flagship. We do golf, we sponsor golf. We also work with rugby. And so we want to be in all the sports to give our customers, our youth, diversity and choice in terms of the sports they can participate in.
And so I just want to encourage each of us here and each of you here. And I'm just as excited to see the young girls here as I am the young boys, because the opportunities for our young girls are just as, if not more important, as we move forward. But the game of basketball can change your life. Whatever it is that you love to do, enjoy doing, pouring your all into basketball can take you there.
On now to international football news, where Bayern Munich registered a convincing 5-2 win over Arsenal in their opening match of the UEFA Women's Champions League group phase at Bayern Campus Stadium. In other matches, Manchester City defeated defending champions Barcelona 2-0. Juventus beat Vålerenga 1-0, while St. Pölten lost 2-0 to Hammarby. And on that international note, we come to the end of Prime Edition on this Mazingira. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. My name is Kimani. Always a pleasure to have you tonight. And of course, our sign language interpreter is Lensa Odinga. Thank you very much and have a good time.
young generation awakens on Y254, the leading youth TV station in Kenya. We treat you to current affairs, entrepreneurship, health, and human interest conversations.
It's art, it's culture,
Movies, gossip and trends, sports, drama.
We bring you a vibe like no other, straight to your living room.
To keep you informed, inspired, entertained, and most of all, refreshed.
We are such a vibe.
Y254. Imagine.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who is the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevakishwa. Zile wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Nasema kuna askari alichapwa.
Vibaya sana. Tena alikuwa analia kama mtoto.
Akapiga nduru.
Kama ya mama.
Ilikuwa inasikika umbali gani?
Ilikuwa 500,000 kilometers.
Wewe, ongea ile kitu unaelewa.
How did I beat you? Ati mimi peke yangu, angalia height yako, angalia height yangu. Mimi ungesema nilikutolea bunduki ilikuwa mambo ingine. Mimi peke yangu niengezaje kukupiga?
Alimkumuta, alimchapa, wacha alimchapa vibaya. Mpaka huyo askari anaanza kulia kama kitoto. Wewe mama, wewe mama.
Wewe.
Mpaya huyo ameenda China.
Sasa wewe, na hii mwili yako yote. Huyu mzee anaweza kukupiga.
Sasa wacha tu nikuulize hata wewe.
Nijibu kwanza.
Si urani? Wanakimbia?
No, how do you run? Na wewe mwenyewe uko na bunduki, si ndio?
Alikuwa na bunduki mwenzangu.
Mimi nauliza wewe.
Hata mimi nakuuliza wewe, alikuwa na bunduki?
Hawezi kujibu swali na swali.
My name is Michelle, not Micheline. That is something else not to mention. And also, did you just call me abnormal?
Of course, you are very abnormal. Kwa nini unatembea kama kifaru yenye ioni kwenye inaenda?
As for me, myself and I am absorbing everything like a sponge. Girls in this class are so desperate for love. Acha niende before I grow up. Wacha wifu nani? Kama choice alikukataa, usifikirie kila mtu ni wewe.
Mapenzi moto moto, yani that is what we call falling in love.
Giving me your key, giving me your get pass to your heart.
We all want to have a healthy and sustainable lifestyle, right? I know that's not easy, but 8 billion people live on Earth and we all need to eat and preserve our beautiful planet. Is it even possible to do both? Yes, using tech. And smart farming is our topic on Shift today. There's no future without sustainable farming. To help farmers grow more food with less chemicals, there are many startups that use data analysis to examine everything, from soil conditions to climate changes to the most efficient ways to use fertilizer. So far, however, this data is not equally accessible to everyone. For instance, when it comes to data from space. Satellites are rarely gathering info from sub-Saharan Africa. A Kenyan startup wants to change this using artificial intelligence. This farmer from Nyeri, Kenya has been working with satellite images to increase his crop yield.
He is supported by a startup specializing in eco-friendly technology from the capital Nairobi. Their goal? Farmers should have access to more data on the soil, the weather, and future changes to the climate.
Using this data, we're able to create models, and these models will help us, to understand what is happening at the farm at any point in time.
For farmers like Martin Waniki, climate change is making it increasingly difficult to tell when to start sowing. His hopes now rest on data from the software Amini, which could help him to be more efficient.
When we have enough data about the weather, we will know if the rain is going to come and it will not last long. It will be short rains. We do potatoes and those 3 months crops. If it is going to be long rains, then we'll know we are going to do maize or those plants that go for a longer period.
Amini gathers weather and soil data from satellites in space and analyzes this using AI. The company is based in Nairobi. Since most satellites are not directed towards gathering data from Africa, getting high quality and reliable data is challenging. Amini founder Kate Kellett wants to change this.
We wanted to make sure that countries in the global south were also equipped with the same platforms that the global north have been able to get access to. And if the West or the global north has accelerated and has created the world that we see today, full of technology, Africa hasn't been able to capture that revolution because of the lack of high quality and accessible data.
Kate Kellett isn't tackling this challenge alone. She wants to fundamentally change how data is gathered across Africa and is thus cooperating with academic research institutes in Kenya that use machine learning to protect the climate.
Ultimately, what we're building at Amini is all to leave a legacy to the African continent. So we're hoping that as we continue to work with the students and build capacity within the continent, they come and take over and bring that mission and that vision 100 times further that we will be able to do it today.
In less than 5 years, Amini has already raised more than $2 million. Kate Kellett wants to use the satellite data to improve Amini's machine learning system. The data can provide more information on the impact of climate change and thus help the farmers on the ground. Here, small-scale farmers are especially important to her.
When I see people who say, well, these farms actually don't have an impact, they have an impact. When you put 600 million of them together, they feed the entire planet, and that's very powerful, and that's why we should care about these farms.
Supporting individual farmers, that's also important. Small farms produce around 35% of the world's food, despite using just 12% of all agricultural land. That means they are essential for our nutrition. One project that supports small farmers is in northern Cameroon. A classroom in the north of Cameroon. In this course, farmers use VR headsets to enter virtual fields and learn how to keep their real-world cotton plants pest-free.
This type of training lets farmers practice new methods. By being able to try them out, they understand the challenges better and can adapt accordingly.
Halawachi Halahoki learned how to grow cotton from his parents. Now he'd like to try new methods and expand his skill set. The VR headset lets him train on a virtual cotton field. Here, he can zoom closer to the plants in order to spot potential pest infestation that could harm the plants. Another valuable lesson from the course is that spiders, who eat caterpillars, can be helpful for pest control.
It feels like you're inside the video on the fields and can observe what's happening. It's been really helpful for us, for me.
In this virtual world, the farmers also learn how to produce biological pesticide spray by mixing ground neem seeds with water, vegetable oil and a bit of detergent. Not only is it more eco-friendly and less harmful to humans than chemical pesticides, but it's also much cheaper. All the techniques taught in VR precisely resemble real-life situations. Immersive learning is also cheaper than regular training, as there are no costs for transport and accommodation. The Cameroonian cotton export company Seau de Coton also profits from well-trained farmers.
You can have the right equipment, but without appropriate training, you won't be able to produce good cotton. This education helps the farmers to improve their techniques and produce high-quality cotton.
In order to be equipped for future challenges and to produce higher yields on the cotton fields, more and more farmers in Cameroon want to participate in the virtual training courses.
From peanut butter to frozen pizza, one product that's in almost everything is palm oil. It has a great shelf life and can withstand being heated, but it's also very controversial. Forests have been cut down for palm oil plantations, which threatens animal species and the air we breathe. Now, that doesn't sound very eco-friendly, does it? But palm oil actually requires much less deforested area than rapeseed or soy. It just needs to be sustainable. How can we check? With a new app from Indonesia, for example.
Indonesia is by far the largest palm oil producer in the world. More than 16 million people here work as farmers, oil mill operators, traders and in the food industry. It's a long supply chain, and for true sustainability, every step needs to be vetted. Manfred Bohrer from Switzerland co-founded Coltiva to this end. He always knew that
we can't just build a software for a farmer or a software for a trader. It has to be a holistic end-to-end system where we deliver a platform which helps agri-input suppliers, farmers and the off-takers, the mills, up to the brands.
verifying the data is key. To date, Coltiva has registered more than 120,000 smallholder palm oil plantations in Indonesia alone, and each farmer has been interviewed by Coltiva staff.
So we have verification that the farm is not in protected forests, not involved in deforestation over the past 10 years, and that they do not exploit children and their labor on their farm.
Today, Coltiva has become a global company with 800 employees. Its mission is to enable and ensure traceability at every stage of production, processing and sales. As more and more companies are looking to making their supply chains more transparent.
Often a contract starts with a multinational company, a brand, coming to us, okay, please help us to map our supply chains.
The Jakarta-based tech company diversified its portfolio. These days, it doesn't just cover palm oil supply chains, but also the more than 1 million producers of over 50 different raw materials from across the globe who have also signed up.
There are many apps for cattle breeders. Farmers can use these to access data on their livestock on their smartphones. DigiCow also has a chat function where they can chat directly with veterinarians. Tech connects people. Also in Latin America, where an app helps farmers sell their products by connecting them directly with customers so they can order produce straight from the farmers.
Many farms in Colombia are located in remote areas. So transporting produce can be difficult, and small farmers don't have as many options for selling their crops, which makes it harder to earn a fair and stable income. Yuli Galindo and Camilo Ramos want to change this with their platform Siembra Co.
When we saw all the productive barriers and challenges that small-scale farmers faced, we started to develop a solution, an integral solution for the farmers. And in that moment, we think about virtual planting, in which we can connect farmers and customers before planting.
Customers can order produce directly from the farmers and can now also choose how many plants should be grown for them. The crops can be delivered to them, but they can also be sold or donated. But the startup isn't stopping at being a direct marketer. 2,600 small-scale farming families live in Colombia and Guatemala. Siembra Co would like to see them profit from information and insights available on the platform.
We use AI in different areas. The most important are logistics. We use a platform that uses AI to do all the deliveries in the best way. And we also use AI to give support to our farmers. I mean, we process the satellite image through AI platform, and thus our technical support can give information to the farmers.
More data can hopefully lead to better crops. These days, SiembraCo also delivers to restaurant chains and companies. The aim is to make these markets more accessible to small-scale farmers too.
Now is the moment to implement technology in agriculture, because we need to bring opportunities to the field to motivate new generations working in the crops.